You've been asking for it, so I had to deliver. Today's video is all about large wall art that is super budget friendly. So one of the biggest thing with large wall art is it's usually really expensive if you buy it at a high-end store. So I'm always trying to come up with ways that I can make it really affordable. One of the things I make a lot of my wall art on are canvases, and those can actually be pretty expensive. The place that I have found to make it the most affordable is at Hobby Lobby. They have really large canvases, so the ones that I'm going to be using in today's video are 30 by 40. Typically they are priced at $50, but if you go when they're 40% off, that makes them really affordable, and I found this to be one of the best deals on canvas that you can get. When putting together these wall art videos, I like to look for inspiration at high-end stores just to give me ideas, and I've been noticing a lot of textured art. So I wanted to do my version of that, so I'm going to be using that 30 by 40 canvas. I also picked up a shower curtain in an ombre pattern, and of course I got it in like blue and white because blue is one of my favorite colors. For this DIY, you could use any shower curtain that you want. I just find that shower curtains are an affordable option. So I'm gonna start by just laying my shower curtain over the top of my canvas, and I want it to cover all sides as equally as possible, but it doesn't have to be perfect, so don't worry. I wanted the shower curtain to look like it was in a grid pattern. So what I did was I actually scrunched up the material, and then I tried to use a tack to hold it in place. But I realized that wasn't working really well, so later on I switched to just using some of my sewing push pins, and that works so much better. But I'm going to create just small little square areas that are going to start to form a grid. So the product that I'm going to be using to kind of hold everything in place is a matte Mod Podge. I wish that I would have put a layer of Mod Podge on the canvas before I put down my shower curtain, but I didn't do that. So what I actually did was just pick up my shower curtain and put a little bit of the Mod Podge underneath. Then I'm going to lay it back down. After I've scrunched it up, I'm going to add the Mod Podge to the base of my square, making sure that it's as flat as possible because this is going to be what holds everything together. And then as I go along, you want to make sure that you scrunch all of the sides before you add in the Mod Podge. And I'm going to do that in a pattern and then just keep going till I get to the end of my canvas. Now from here, you want to let this dry. This Mod Podge needs time to set up and harden, so let this dry completely overnight. Then the next day, what you're going to do is you're going to come back and hopefully everything is hard and it's not moving. If it's not, you could add in additional layers of Mod Podge at this point, but mine was pretty good. So I flipped it over to the back, and now comes a pretty easy part. All I have to do is pull up each of the sides as tight as possible, and I'm going to use hot glue to hold it in place. Now, after I hot glue one side, I'm going to cut off the excess shower curtain, and then I'm going to repeat this on all sides, adding in hot glue and pulling it tight in place and cutting off the excess. Once you have the back in place, you're going to turn it over to the front, and all you have to do now is just pull out all of those push pins that you used to hold it in place. I have to say, I absolutely love the way this turned out. I think it's a really unique wall art piece that was pretty affordable. I'm excited that today's video is sponsored by Temu. Now, if you have not heard of Temu, it's a website that has fashion, jewelry, home decor, pet supplies, organization, and really so much more. The prices on Temu's website are so affordable. You guys are not gonna believe some of these prices. They have free shipping and free returns up to 90 days. Let me show you some of my favorite products from Temu, and I'll link to them all down in the description box. Moose absolutely loves his pet water fountain. Now this one is for cats or dogs. It's a great way for him to stay hydrated, and it has a filter in it so it keeps the water nice and fresh. If you struggle to open your jars like I do, these are awesome. They help me open any jar, and you can really do so many different sizes. You place this device around your lid and twist, and it's gonna come off so easily, you're not gonna believe it. I have to show you guys my go-to cup. This holds so much water, so I don't have to keep filling it up all day. It has the handle, which we all love, plus it keeps my water nice and cold. Love this pink color, and it fits in my cup holder. I am always losing my tweezers and my nail clippers, so I like to keep them in one spot. I find these cases are so great. I have all the nail tools I could ever want. These little scissors are great to have on hand. I love the rose gold color of all the tools. The outside of it has this really cushy case, so a great set to have. One of my favorite items from Temu is actually down here in my electronics cabinet. This is a clear acrylic container. I use it to put all of those tiny little charging cables that you get. I will just wrap them up and put them in here. They're nice and organized, so if I need one, I can find it down here. I found the perfect waterproof heavy-duty bag for this summer. This is what I'm gonna be carrying to the pool. I got mine in the light blue, but there's a bunch of different colors available. This is perfect for all of your summer gear when you're heading to the pool or beach. Something to make it even more fun is to pick up some charms off of Temu's website, and you can put them in the front of your bag to really personalize it. I love keeping all of my vitamins in this container. It holds quite a bit, but it's really compact because of the magnet right here. So I can fold it up and put all of my vitamins in the purse, so it's great for on the go. If you love spray hand sanitizer, Temu has these refillable containers that are super affordable. You can put your own liquid hand sanitizer in there. I have this purple one that's so cute. I have this blue one that's already filled up, and all you have to do is just press down on the button to spray it. Since Temu is sponsoring today's video, they want to give you an extra 30% off your order. All you have to do is use my code, which is JOY5235 at checkout to save. Temu is having a site-wide sale right now, so most products are already up to 90% off. You can go to the Temu app or website to check out all of these amazing products and see what other items they have. I will also leave the link below in the description box. If you like what you see in today's video, make sure you paint that subscribe button to see more of my videos.
Okay, Liz, I think we need to tell everyone what this is.
You guys, I really wanted to give you some large wall art, but you know that wall art can be really expensive. So I went searching and I found this piece at Home Depot. It's $14, it's insulation, and then the back of it's foam. So we're gonna use this to create a large wall art. So the wall that I'm gonna do, I want it to be about 78 inches long. So I'm gonna measure this out. I believe this is an 8-foot piece, but I'm gonna measure out 78 inches. And then because it's foam, I'm gonna use my X-Acto knife to cut it in half. Then the real challenge is going to be painting it. So I actually need to take this outside, spray paint it, and then bring it back inside. So hopefully I can do that without getting paint everywhere. So let's cut it down first. So I'm gonna make a mark at 78 inches on either side. You just need something that'll go across your entire board. So I'm gonna line up my board just to get the straightest line that I can. And then I'm gonna draw my line with my Sharpie. So I'm gonna use a box cutter to try to cut the line as straight as possible. One of the things we've learned about using box cutters over the years is you need to change your blade out frequently because these blades go dull really fast. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back through and cut that line again just to make sure I have a nice clean cut before I start to bend it. I'm just going to bend it back. You can see I did a pretty good job of cutting. I'm just gonna hold it up because I don't really need to cut on the other side. I'm gonna hold it up like this and I'll use the box cutter to cut through this line again. So I'm just putting down paper to make sure that I don't get anything on my floor. If it was warmer out, I would just do this outside, but we're gonna have to spray paint and then bring it in to dry. And this paper, you guys, is from IKEA. This is what I use on my crafting table. You can get it in the kids section at IKEA.
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna be able to film this, but Liz wants me to pass this down like over the railing. We're gonna see if that works. Oh, the wind's picking.
Delaney's gonna try to. Oh gosh. All right, got it.
It's really lightweight, but the wind like really moves it.
The wind.
Yeah.
2 full cans of matte white spray paint. So I'm gonna start in the middle since I'm gonna probably have to lean over it.
It's kind of hard to see on camera that she's spray painting because of how shiny it is. But she's spray painting it white.
This is like the largest wall art I've ever spray painted.
You can do it. Finish. We can use 1 can on the whole thing. We're so close.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
1 can pretty much did a full coat. It's done, so I'm gonna go along the edges with the new can. And then I think because we're gonna take this up and I don't wanna have to bring it back outside again, I'm probably gonna do a little bit more on it just to do areas where I'm missing some of the spray paint.
Working on the second coat.
If you guys didn't want to spray paint this, you could always just use house paint, acrylic paint to paint this. I just like to spray paint because I feel like it's faster and I get the job done quickly. The scary part is going to be moving this up to my office and not getting paint everywhere. But it's not 55 degrees, so I cannot leave it out. It won't dry out here, so I gotta take it inside so it can finish drying.
I don't think I'm gonna get that on camera because I have to help her. So if you're wanting to see how crazy that's gonna look.
Delaney is gonna be on one side and I'm gonna be on the other. Now the fun part is going to begin. I actually get to start doing my paint techniques on this large wall art. Now I have to say this wall art has had so many twists and turns, but I'm gonna walk you through each step that I did. I also have some paints that I'm using from Hobby Lobby. If you guys have not tried out the Dollar Tree paint pour paints, they are $3 in the Dollar Tree Plus section and they are so good. I absolutely love them, so make sure you give them a try. Now of course I'm gonna be using colors that I typically use, which are the blues. I also love gold, and I think I have kind of like almost like a rose coppery color in there, and then white. So about 1.5 feet down, I'm going to draw a straight line across with all of my paint pour colors. So next, I'm going to be using my blow dryer. So this is always fun to do. So you're gonna take your blow dryer, make sure it's not on hot heat, because I find that if you have it on hot, it's going to dry it a lot faster than you want it to dry. So put it on cool setting, and then you're gonna take your blow dryer and just start blowing the paint down to the edge. You wanna make sure you have a lot of paper down so you don't get any paint in your house, but you're going to blow the paint down. Another thing you can do with the blow dryer is you can actually turn it so it's straight down. And what that is going to do is it's actually going to mix the colors together really well. And the more you add your blow dryer to an area, the more blended that the paint will be. So some of the things that I learned as I was doing this is I wasn't adding enough paint. I had a really big piece, so I had to add in additional paint as I went. So you will see that I went back several times and added in more paint. The other thing I learned was the power of white paint. White paint is so great with a paint pour to mix colors together. So I find that white is a really essential color when you're doing this technique. So once I did that initial top layer, I came back in with my paint pours and added in lines going down because I really wanted to give it that look of the paint flowing down. So after I added in those lines, I went back in with my blow dryer and tried to mix the colors as best as possible. Now, one of the things I wasn't happy with is I didn't like the way the top of this looked. So I went in and I added in a whole layer of blue as well as white on the top, and I tried to mix those colors in. I also did this with a gold color. So after I got all of the paint pour colors blended, I picked it up so it was sitting, upright to kind of let the paints drip down. And they really weren't giving me that paint pour drippy look that I was going for. So I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna add additional paint until I'm happy with the way it looks. So then I came in with a dark blue paint, and I decided I did not want to do any more blow drying. I thought I might want to, but then I thought, you know what? I actually like the way this looks as like a drip paint on top of where I've already blow dried it. So I came in really heavy with a blue paint. I kind of stepped back and looked at that. I really wasn't happy. I was kind of not happy with the way it was looking across the top. So my final step, and I think the thing that made me like it so much better, was the white. I'm telling you, the white is key when you're doing these paint pours. I felt like it really finished off that top layer, and then it just dripped down and it looked so pretty over the colors. So once I added the white, I loved the way that it looked, and I let it dry completely overnight. I can't believe how large of a wall art I was able to get with just that really inexpensive $14 worth of insulation. This is massive on my wall, so if you have a huge wall that you need a large piece of wall art for, consider trying this technique out. You could use any paint technique, even if you don't like the drip paint look. It's a great inexpensive canvas option that you could use. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment the word of the day, which is wall painting. Now, of course, we had to throw in some items from Dollar Tree in this large wall art video. Dollar Tree has a pretty big new farm line out for spring, and I came across these large, I don't know, I guess they call them like wood panels. They come in a bunch of different colors. I think they're in white, a wood, and a black. I picked up 5 of the wood panels for this project. I started by removing the string at the top because I wasn't going to need to use those, and I actually wanted those holes to be filled. So I came in with some wood filler and filled in those holes. Now this wood filler dries pretty quickly in a couple of hours, and after a couple of hours I just used a little bit of sandpaper and sanded off the top of them. I didn't want to have to completely paint these. So what I did, instead of having to paint them, because I figured if I used paint, it wouldn't match the black exactly. So I actually used rub and buff, which was a great technique because it doesn't have to be perfect. And I have a rub and buff in the color black. So I added the black rub and buff with a foam brush to where I put that wood filler, and it actually matched really well. I didn't have to paint any of the boards. So I wanted these boards to look kind of like almost like a plant wall. And you could use any plants you want. I picked up a bunch of plants from Dollar Tree that I'm going to use in this project. But the first thing I had to do was put this plant wall together. So I took all of my boards and I flipped them on the back side. And I used my table to kind of help me space them out. I wanted them to look a little bit staggered. So I had one board that was even with one side of my table, and the other board was even with the other side. I also wanted to get the spacing the same, so I got my tape measure and I measured about 1.5 inches on each side so my spacing was the same. Now to hold them together, I used those large craft sticks. I buy these at Walmart. They're pretty affordable. You could probably get them on Amazon as well. So I'm gonna take the large craft sticks and I'm gonna put hot glue on either side and place those onto my board. This is going to create that barrier on each side of my board. I'm gonna do that all the way down, and then I'll repeat those steps on the other side. Once I have the craft sticks on, I'm going to flip it back over, and then the next part is adding in my succulents. So several of the succulents had stems on them that I had to cut off, and then I just placed them around my wall art and then hot glued them in place. You could add any type of florals you wanted, any type of succulents or plants. You could really just make it your own. Now I did decide that I wanted to add a few more like sprigs from Dollar Tree. So I found this greenery piece that I had from Dollar Tree and I pulled some of those off and added those to my piece. So here's a look at how it turned out. So for this next wall art, you're gonna need to get 2 frames from Dollar Tree. These are 8 by 10 frames. And I started by removing all of the contents. Now I'm not gonna be using the backing pieces, but I am gonna be using the mat that comes with it. So I'm gonna take everything out because I first wanna start by just using the glass in my frames. Next, I printed off an image on Google. You can use any sort of image that you want. I just went with this flower pattern and I printed it off on my regular printer. I'm gonna take that image and I'm gonna put it underneath my glass. I'm going to use a paint pen. This is one that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to trace over the black lines in my picture. Make sure your paint pen has all of the product at the bottom so you cover everything completely. Let that dry completely, and you're gonna repeat this for both of your frames. For the next step, I'm actually going to take the glass and flip it to the back. And I wanted to create some abstract shapes. So I'm gonna be using 2 different colors of paint. These are both Waverly chalk paints that I got at Walmart. The first one is a blue color. I'm gonna start by using a foam brush, and I'm just going to paint a shape over the top of where I put the paint pour. Now with this, you want to do it really thick. So I kept on flipping it over and seeing if it was completely covered. You could also do this by just adding in 2 coats, but I continued to flip it over to make sure that it was completely covered so you couldn't see through on the front side. Once that's dry, I'm going to be using kind of a brown color and making another shape. Again, making sure that paint is really thick so it covers your image completely. And I'll do this with both of my pieces of glass. Once they dry completely, I'm going to put the mat back in my frame. Then I'll put in the glass and then just use the little backing pieces to hold it in place. You can use a nail to hang this on the wall or some command strips. For this next wall art, we're going to be using another large canvas from Hobby Lobby, the same size that we used earlier, that 30 by 40 size that I got 40% off. I'm also going to be using a product that I will link down in the description box called Texture Paste. And then I'm going to be using some tools from Dollar Tree to put it on. I'm going to start by just getting the product onto the center of my canvas. And I ended up using 2 jars of the texture paste to do this. Now I'm going to be coming in with additional tools because I want to create fun lines so that the product is really raised up. Once you get it all on there and you're happy with the way the texture looks, you're gonna let this dry at least for 4 hours. You may wanna let it dry overnight. I came back in and I wanted this to have a really metallic appearance to it. So I pulled out some of my metallic acrylic paints that I had. I had 6 different ones that I put on a plate, but I had rose gold, gold, some brown metallics. I also had some really pretty silver metallics. And I just started by painting them onto the center, and I went through with some of my darker colors. I really tried to concentrate doing the gold and the rose gold the most because these were the colors that I wanted to really come out in this piece. You can go back through and add additional color, but what the color is going to do is it's going to bring out that texture so you really see it in the piece. Plus it's going to create a fun effect. And this is so easy to do, but this is such a beginner friendly project that you can do, but I think makes a big impact in any room. Now the thing I couldn't decide was whether I liked it better horizontally or vertically. So I'm gonna take a picture of both and you guys let me know which way I should hang it down in the comments. Should I hang it horizontally or vertically? next I'm going to show you a simple way you can change out any frame that you have in your home. Now I have this large frame from IKEA. It's had a piece of fabric in there, but maybe you have a large frame with a print in it that you want to change up. So what you want to do is you want to go get some fabric. You may already have it on hand. I went to Joann's and picked up this piece of fabric. You really don't need that much, maybe about, well, it depends on how big your frame is. I got about a half a yard for this project. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up your frame, and then I like to leave the mat in because I feel like it makes it look really nice. And then I'm just going to put my fabric in the middle and cut it down so it's going to fit perfectly in my mat. I did press this so it didn't have any wrinkles in it, and after I pressed it, I went through and I hot glued it onto my mat. I pulled it as tight as possible and hot glued it in my corners as well. And then all you have to do is close it up by putting the backing on it, and this is going to change the look to your decor. So maybe if you change up the colors in your house, you may want to add in a piece of fabric, and it's a really inexpensive wall art idea. All right, you guys, it's your turn to vote. I love knowing your opinion. So let me know down in the comments which of these wall art that I created today was your favorite. Just let me know the number you like the best down in the comments. I hope you got some great ideas today that you could use in your home. Don't be afraid to try that project you've always wanted to try. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. I hope you subscribe because I want to see you back here. Bye.